The Galactic Council chamber fell into an eerie silence as Ambassador Zixter of the Valkyrian Empire stood before the assembly, his crystalline exoskeleton gleaming under the artificial lights. He had called this emergency session with great urgency, expecting sympathy and support from the gathered species. What he received instead would become one of the most infamous moments in galactic history. Esteemed members of the Council, Zixter began, his translator converting his chittering into standard galactic common. I come before you to report a grave injustice. The human settlement on Kepler 442b has been harboring dangerous elements. We have taken appropriate action to contain the threat. Commander Eva Martinez of the Human Defense Initiative sat in the observer section, her jaw clenched. Beside her, Oliver Chun, the human diplomatic liaison, gripped the armrest of his chair so tightly his knuckles turned white. They had received fragmentary reports about an incident on Kepler 442b, but nothing official until now. What kind of threat? Asked Counselor Miravan, a towering insectoid from the Hive Collective. Zixter's mandibles clicked in what his species considered a gesture of righteousness. 47 individuals engaged in coordinated chaos, destruction of property, and complete disregard for authority. They invaded a restricted research facility, damaged equipment worth millions of credits, and showed absolutely no remorse. We had no choice but to incarcerate them. Eva felt her blood run cold. Oliver turned to her, his face pale. Ava, the school field trip, he whispered. The one to the Xenobiology Center. It was scheduled for 3 days ago. Before Eva could respond, a holographic display materialized in the center of the chamber, showing grainy security footage. What Zixter clearly intended as evidence of human criminality instead showed something entirely different. Children. Human children, aged approximately 6 to 12 years old, laughing and playing in what appeared to be a museum exhibit. The chamber erupted. Those are juveniles, roared Ambassador Krell of the Ursinian Dominion, his massive form rising from his seat. Children? Gasped Counselor Chisha, her tentacles recoiling in horror. You imprisoned their young? Zixter seemed confused by the reaction. They are not larvae. They stand upright. They communicate. They're children. Eva was on her feet now, her voice cutting through the chaos like a blade. Every eye in the chamber turned to her. Oliver stood beside her, his hand hovering near her shoulder, ready to support or restrain as needed. Ambassador Martinez, the council speaker acknowledged, you have not been granted the floor. With respect. Speaker, I'm taking it. Ava's voice was ice. Counselor Zixter, those dangerous elements you imprisoned are a second-grade class from New Seattle Elementary School. The youngest is 6 years old. 6 standard years old. The Valkyrian ambassador's confusion was evident. But they caused destruction. They refused to follow containment protocols. They were children on a field trip. Oliver interjected, his diplomatic training barely keeping his anger in check. Tell me, Counselor, what exactly did they destroy? Zixter pulled up his report. They touched restricted specimens without permission. Activated educational displays not meant for public interaction. And when we attempted to restore order, they scattered in multiple directions, requiring 17 security personnel to apprehend them all. A sound echoed through the chamber. It took Eva a moment to realize it was laughter. Deep, rumbling laughter from Ambassador Krell. They touched things in a museum? Krell guffawed. By the first star Zixter? That's what younglings do. Did none of your security team think to simply ask them to stop? We issued commands. They did not comply immediately. Eva pulled up her own data pad, accessing the facility's public information. Your restricted specimens are interactive touch exhibits designed for educational purposes. Your facility's own promotional materials advertise hands-on learning experiences. And those educational displays not meant for public interaction? They're literally labeled "Please Touch" in 17 languages, including Galactic Common. The hologram shifted, showing the actual exhibits. Indeed, bright signs encouraged interaction. The children in the footage weren't vandalizing. They were learning, their faces bright with wonder and curiosity. Oliver stepped forward, his voice steady, but carrying an edge that made several counselors lean back. Let me explain something about human children to this council. They are not small adults. They are learning creatures. Their brains are wired to explore, to question, to touch and experience. A human child who sees something fascinating will naturally want to interact with it. That's not criminality. That's cognitive development. Furthermore, Eva continued, her military bearing making her seem to grow taller. When you gave commands in Galactic Common to a group of human children, most of whom have only basic language lessons, they didn't understand you. And when your security team started chasing them, they did what any frightened child would do. They ran. Zixther's crystalline structure seemed to dim. We did not realize. They seemed fully developed. They were nearly the size of adult humans from other species. Because humans have a long developmental period, Oliver explained, his tone slightly gentler now. Those children won't reach full maturity for another decade or more. You arrested and imprisoned babies, counselor. By our standards, you locked up babies. The council chamber dissolved into heated debate. Species after species stood to express their horror at the situation. The Valkyrians, it seemed, had a vastly different life cycle. Their young emerged fully formed and cognitively mature. The concept of a prolonged childhood was utterly foreign to them. Where are they now? Eva demanded, cutting through the noise. Where are those children right now? Zixther checked his communicator, and for the first time, something like distress showed in his body language. They are in holding cells. Standard adult detention facilities. Ava and Oliver moved as one toward the exit. Speaker, I'm going to retrieve those children, Eva announced. Counselor Zixther, you're going to give me immediate clearance and transport. Or I swear by Earth's oceans, you'll discover exactly why humans have a reputation in this galaxy. Agreed, the speaker said quickly. Counselor Zixther, full cooperation. Council adjourned. This matter requires immediate resolution. As Eva and Oliver rushed to the transport bay, Oliver spoke quietly. You know this is going to change everything. The Council will have to implement new protocols, age verification standards. Good, Eva replied tersely. Maybe then these species will understand. You can imprison our criminals. You can challenge our warriors. You can negotiate with our diplomats. But if you harm our children, you'll learn why Earth never stopped fighting, even when we were the weakest species in the galaxy. Because humans protect their young. Always. The transport launched toward Kepler 442b, carrying two very angry humans on a rescue mission that would later be taught in every xenanthropology course across the galaxy as the day that Council learned the most important rule about humanity. Never, ever threaten their children.